The page browser has multiple components. First, the page browser itself icon, the first one, and that is to show all of your pages. That would go down here. So that's similar to PowerPoint. When you look to the side, you can see all of the different screens that are in your PowerPoint. That's what you would see here. Second, we have the resource browser. The resource browser comes in really handy. There are some items in here that are extremely useful, uh, such as, let's say, grids. If you're for some reason using grids in a math lesson, all you have to do is take the graph paper, say this is the one I want, and drag it, and there it is. You have it. So I'm going to remove it by undoing and show you a few more examples, such as lesson building tools. Well, this is item number 1, and I want to make it very clear where I'm going in my steps. I can put my numbers right beside whatever I'm listing. So every time I make a reference to my students, I could say, well, notice how number 1 says, and then spell it out. Next, we have what's referred to as your object browser. Your object browser will come in real handy when we do some other exercises in videos to come. And you will see that every item that you put on your desktop will turn into an object. Let me show you what a circle does. Okay, now we see shape. So it has a name. So why do you need to know this? Why is it useful? I'm glad you asked. Because I'm going to tell you. The answer is, if you have some shapes that you want under other shapes. So for instance, I'm typing I have a text. It's referred to as a text. I'm sorry. I called it a shape. Highlight it. I could go up here and say, well, I want it to be size 20. Still not big enough. There. Well, if I add another shape, I want to put a rectangle underneath that. Oh, wait. I can't see my words now. What's the problem? Well, you've probably already decided what the problem is. That is, text needs to be on top. So I can, over here on the left side, I can drag it up. I can drag it up, I promise. And there it is on top, and it's in the box. Well, now you've decided, well, yeah, but I don't want the box to be orange border and a yellowish orange filling. Well, that's where we come to our next ones. I'm going to skip the notes browser for the moment and go to the property browser. In our property browser, we can say, well, okay, I want it to have a very thin border of black. Then let's bring it down to 2. And I want the fill-in colors to be, do I want it to be solid or gradient? Horizontal, let's say gradient. Let's just make it a gradient color. Well, that now you say, well, but my text is dark black. That's not very wise. So, well, you can go back to your text. And yet, the way to do that is to go back to make sure you select your text. If you click it 3 times, it'll select the whole sentence. Well, I'm going to pick something that's brighter, so white. White seems to work. So, that's how you put an object and text together, and that is also why you have these layers, and you have to know what goes where. And you can put things on underneath the bottom layer title that you know are always going to be on the bottom, and that's the same as the background. So you normally only have one background image. Last but not least, when it comes to this, you can select the whole thing by holding down your left mouse key and drawing a imaginary rectangle, and then notice it selected text and shape, and I want to hit Command G or Control G on the PC. On Mac it would be Command G. What it does is it keeps them two as one. The day is beautiful and the box are together. Let me undo that and show you what happens if I try to move the words. See, they're disconnected. So again, I go back, Control G for PC, Command G for Mac, and it's one. So that's the best way to make titles. And then we go to our Notes browser. Notes browser is where you would have notes in here that would tell exactly what is supposed to happen on any given screen. Okay, I have opened a flip chart as an example for you to see. If you opened somebody's existing flip chart that they lended you and said, "Hey, here, use this. This is great for quadratic equations, and this is the perfect flip chart to use for starting." And you open it, you may not know exactly what the first page is to do. The teacher knows what to do because they're the ones who designed it. You being the teacher, you're not sure exactly what everything is for in this given one. So if I look here on the notes, I can see this page uses actions to change the Z order of images in a layer. Well, let's go to our next page. We can go to our next page by these arrows right here. We go to right, takes me to this one. This page uses actions to toggle the visibility of the answers to the questions. Well, look at that. When I roll my mouse over it, I've got a blue icon. So which cities host the landmarks below, or shown below? So I think this is France. That's just a guess. If I click on it, Eiffel Tower, Las Vegas, fooled ya. Yep, sure did. I'm suspecting this is the Big Ben in London. Now this one does not look familiar to me, so I'm going to click because I'm not too sure of the answer. That's because I've never been to Barcelona. So there's how it works. With these notes, I knew exactly what was going to happen by moving my mouse over. So for the sake of others, when you decide to develop something, you might as well make it useful for others to see. Let me go back to this page. Do you see how the answers are all visible now? And what if you decide, well, I want to use this in my next class, but I want the answers to show? Well, the developer made this icon as an action also. They just didn't put it in their notes. This icon means to clear it. So I click and it resets everything. This icon removes everything and makes it moves the browser, and then I can bring the browser back. So if I want to get rid of notes or I want to bring notes in, I can click on this. And then next, this page uses stretch incrementally action on the graph bars to modify the graph. Okay, stretch incrementally. On the right is a graph that shows how familiar I am with various kings. Use the arrow to customize the graph according to your knowledge. So that means I can click on the arrows and it will either make it go up or bring it down. So Burger King. Well, I am very familiar with Burger King. Henry VIII. I'm a lot more familiar than that. So let's move it up. King Arthur. About the same as King Henry VIII. So now you see how this works. Now I will show you in yet another video how to create these. To set it back to the usual, click on that and it goes back to the normal settings. So that's your introduction to the tools. All the various tools over here are best discovered by just using them. Each one will be introduced as I cover different areas of using ActivInspire. That's it for this video.